Good evening. I call to order this regular meeting of the Minnehaha County Planning Commission, and we'll begin with a few introductory comments. As a courtesy to everyone here tonight, please make sure that all cell phones have been silenced. Please note that tonight's Planning Commission meeting will be broadcast via CityLink and posted on the www.minnehahacounty.gov site for viewing by the general public. Any final action taken on the conditional use permit applications tonight will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of the Planning Commission's decision is filed in the Planning Office by Monday, August 4th, 2025 at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the County Commission for a hearing on Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 at or after 9 a.m. The affected parties will be notified of the meeting date. Meetings of the County Commission are held in this same room. First on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? At this time, the Planning Commission will consider the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are perceived to be non-controversial and meet all the requirements of the codes and regulations. The consent agenda will be acted on in one motion with no public hearing on the items unless a member of the public, the commission, or staff requests the item be removed from the consent agenda. Next, I'll read each item on the consent agenda and ask if there are any issues or comments from the Planning Commission or the audience. And if any member of the Planning Commission or the audience would like to be heard on the item, please raise your hand and the item will be moved to the regular agenda to allow you to address the commission later in the meeting. Any items remaining on the consent agenda will be approved by the Planning Commission with the conditions recommended by staff. Item number 1 is the approval of the minutes of the June 23rd, 2025 meeting. Item number 2 is conditional use permit 25-38 to transfer one building eligibility from Tract 1, Hanlon's Addition, West Half, Northwest Quarter to the West Half, Northwest Quarter. There is an exception of Wilbur H. Milky Tract 1 and accept Tract number 1, Hanlon's Addition, end of exception. And to make one building eligibility available in the West Half, the Northwest Quarter, there is another exception of the Wilbur H. Milky Tract 1 and the extraction of Tract 1, Hanlon's Addition, end of exception, all within Section 26, Township 101 North, Range 51 West. That is the Mall Lake Township. The petitioner and property owner are Shoreland LLC, located approximately 1 mile east of Wall Lake along 266th Street. Is anyone from the commission, the staff, or audience wish to be heard on this item? Item number 3 is conditional use permit 25-39 to allow an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU, on the property legally described as Lot 7A, 3 River Bluffs Addition, Southeast Quarter, Section 10, Township 101 North, Range 48 West. That is in Split Rock Township. The petitioner and property owners are Jeremy and Stephanie Kaiser, located at 26375 South McCarty Road. Is anyone from the commission, staff, or audience wish to be heard on this item? Item number 4, conditional use permit 25-41 to allow a short-term rental on the property legally described as Tract 4, Krell's Addition, Southeast Quarter, Section 36, Township 101 North, Range 51 West. That is in Wall Lake Township. Petitioner and property owner are Linda Vale, located 46592 268th Street. Anyone from the commission, staff, or audience wish to be heard on this item? Commissioners?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. If your item has been approved, you're free to go. We'll move on to the regular agenda. Conditional use permit 25-43 to amend CUP 20-38 to expand the rock extraction quarry on the property legally described as the Southwest Quarter, There is an exception of RY and H1, H2, and H3, end of exception. Section 14, PT, northwest quarter lying north of Township Road. Section 23, Lot 1, Kuhl's Edition, northwest quarter, Section 23. Tract 2, Hunter's Edition, northwest quarter, Section 23. Tract 3, Hunter's Edition, northwest quarter, Section 23. And all that PT northwest quarter living east of the railroad ROW and east of highway, there's an exception of Hunter's Edition and except Kuhl's Edition, end of exception. Section 23, all within Township 102 North, Range 48 West, that is in Brandon Township. Petitioner is Knife River LLC, property owner, Sweetman's Construction. Doing business is Knife River, approximately 1.5 miles north of Brandon. Mason.
Good evening, Commissioners. Mason Steffen from the County Planning Office. I'll just do probably a general overview of the staff report, since the staff report did get a bit long, but the petitioner is requesting conditional use permit approval to expand their existing rock extraction quarry to include an additional 85.7 acres, which will expand the total footprint of the quarry to about 125 acres. So you can see in this submitted site plan here, or this location map here, the existing quarry is in this roughly 35-acre portion here. This request would allow them to expand the quarry area into this north area here, and then also down into this area right here, and have their processing down through here as well. The exhibits shown in the submitted documents from the petitioner did show that 259th Street will be closed, has been vacated and will be closed off from Highway 11 all the way up to 483rd Street, which is all the way down here, a little bit off the map here. And then 259th Street between Highway 11 and the quarry entrance right here will actually be, there'll be gates at each end, and it'll be closed off and abandoned. And then Knife River will continue to maintain everything between this quarry road here, this crossover 259th here to 483rd Avenue, which will include a farm access for this farmer here. So they will allow that farmer to continue accessing off of their private road, essentially, now that it's been vacated. And then, yeah, the material will be drilled in blast and then transported across here to be processed and then go through the normal railroad and truck route that Knife River already uses. Earlier this year, the commissioners are probably aware that the Knife River did go through and expand the sand and gravel extraction down here to include a new site. So they have a new sand and gravel extraction site or plant down there. And that's all encompassed in this. This is just the actual rock extraction part, which is up here. So slightly different, but kind of all working together. And then, yeah, I guess I'll kind of just skip to the 6 criteria that we generally look at for each conditional use permit. So the effect upon the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the uses already permitted and upon property values. So the petitioner still owns all the residential properties within the 1,000-foot buffer. From 2020 to now, a couple homes on these properties here have actually been removed. But there are no residences not owned by the petitioner within that required 1,000-foot setback. There are a few other residential homes within a half mile, and staff did notify every property owner within a half mile of the site, which was around the nearest 30. And the proposed expansion of the rock extraction operation should not negatively impact the use and enjoyment of the existing uses in the area, given that this rock quarry has been existing for 5 years and the sand plant down here has been existing for over 30 years at this point. The effect upon the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding vacant properties for uses predominant in the area. It does explain in the reclamation plan that the property will be reclaimed for agricultural land and then a water-filled reservoir. The surrounding land is still primarily agricultural, as you can see here, with some residential structures, and then Corson is here to the south, which is an industrial development, but any industrial development further northeast would be dependent on City of Brandon annexations. Number 3, that utilities, access roads, drainage, and/or other necessary facilities are provided. The petitioner has submitted plans to reroute these existing streams that flow through the north portion of this property, and they did get approved for a floodplain development permit for that work earlier this year. Petitioner had also, as I mentioned, did work with Brandon Township already to vacate this portion of 259th Street, and part of it will be gated off, as I mentioned, and then the rest will be used for quarry access for Knife River. That the off-street parking and loading requirements are met. The expansion of the quarry should not increase the parking requirements on site. The vacation of this road will allow the loading between these two sites to happen more seamlessly without public traffic. But the petitioner should be continued to provide one parking space for each employee and 2 off-street parking spaces for customers. Number 5, that measures are taken to control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, lighting, inclusive of lighted signs, so that none of these constitute a nuisance. The petitioner does incorporate buffer zones that will have berms and shelter belts to reduce noise and other visual impacts to surrounding property owners. And again, those from the original plan, there are trees here, and the entire area is fenced around. I can show that in pictures that I took visiting the site. The petitioner will do water suppression or calcium chloride suppression on the roads if dust is noticed from truck traffic, and they do add water to the aggregate processing if visible dust is seen during the processing of the materials. Number 6, that the health, safety, general welfare of the public and the comprehensive plan. Goal 6.5 of the Envision 2045 comprehensive plan specifically states that the county should recognize that resources like sand and gravel and quartzite are a non-renewable natural resource and beneficial to the county's economy and the welfare of its people, and therefore this expansion should have no significant negative harm to the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. With that, I'll just go through a few pictures here before I get to the staff recommendation. So this is the proposed site plan. It's kind of just a general overview of the site. You can see this is the existing quarry with the stream through here and the stream up here. And then this is showing the proposed stream realignment around the quarry area. And then here's looking to the northwest. So right down here, you go down this hill down to the railroad crossing across 259th Street. And that was one of the reasons that the petitioner stated that this was actually vacated by Brandon Township. The railroad actually came to the township first to vacate this portion of the road because there's been several accidents going down that hill and then being right at a railroad crossing. So the vacation was actually initiated by the railroad, but then Knife River joined in to keep that portion east of the quarry access for themselves. So this is kind of looking more north. You can see the quarry piles. You can kind of see the fence a little bit in this picture. And then here you can kind of see the fence a little bit better here, down here in this portion, looking to the northeast. And then this is looking directly east, back towards that crossover point of the quarry. So this is actually where the gate is. So this is the gate to the north. And then looking to the east, the nearest residence over in the distance. Looking to the south, down into the sand and gravel quarry down there, you can kind of see the sand plant there, way out there. And then looking back towards the north again, and then this is kind of more down that hill. So you have down the hill and then a curve, and then there's a railroad track right around this tree belt here. So you can see why that's kind of a dangerous intersection. And yeah, just some general pictures back towards the highway. But I will go back to the location map. And with that, staff does recommend approval of conditional use permit 2543 to expand the rock extraction quarry with 22 conditions. Most of the conditions did not change between the original permit and now. The main change that was made from staff was number 14, which was to extend the mining activity. So when the original permit was issued, it was based on just the quarry, basically the quarry life of this area right here. And so the original permit had I think it would have been 2035, I believe, is when this quarry would have roughly ran out. But now with the new expansion of they're basically more than doubling the expansion area, so extending that out to the the 2060 deadline. And then, yeah, the petitioner did say that reclamation will take approximately 2 years, so that's where we give them until the end of 2061. It might change between now and then. The petitioner might come back and amend the site plan, just like now they're back 5 years later, so that might happen between now and then. That just gives them the flexibility. If they don't need to change anything, they can operate for the extent of the quarry lifetime. But yeah, if there are any questions for me, I'm available. Otherwise, I think that's all I got.
Any questions? Guess not at this time. Is the petitioner here? Please step forward, state your name and address.
Evening, Commissioners. Colin Chatterton, Knife River, 1500 North Sweetman Place in Sioux Falls. Piggybacking off of what Mason said there, 259th was actually just recently closed. The paperwork was filed with the county auditor's office, the notice to vacate. It has minutes from the township meeting where the township voted to approve the vacation of the road. And we do have gates, if you drive out there now, we do actually have gates set up off of Highway 11 and right along the eastern red line boundary. We do have gates set up with signage already. And the rest of that road is going to be a private road to be maintained by Knife River to allow access to the farmer to the east. Another statement here, all necessary permitting under jurisdiction of outside authorities will be in place prior to any expansion-related work. So any significant blasting, drilling, anything like that will not occur until we have permits in hand that allow us to do so. Because we are still currently working through some of the stream reroute options with regulators. Another item that we would like to address is just one condition. We just want it rewritten for clarity. Condition number 4 currently kind of states, in a way some people might read it as dewatering of the pit could only be used for certain things. Since we are requesting a lengthy permit timeline, in case I'm not around anymore or anybody at Knife River isn't around anymore, Mason moves on to bigger and better things, we'd like it to read, the only allowable on-site uses of dewatering are for dust control, rock washing, etc. All off-site discharges must be properly permitted per condition 20. We just think that would provide better clarity for anybody trying to interpret the conditions if any questions from the public arise.
And then Commissioners Mason, Stephan, I'll just comment. I did talk to Colin about that before the meeting. I forgot to mention it in my presentation, but yeah, staff is okay with that rewriting of that condition because, yeah, that condition was copied from the original permit when they weren't sure if they were going to be doing dewatering in the lifetime of that permit. But now that the new permit will be that extended timeline, like I said, changing the wording of that will just be clearer in the future. So.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any questions for him?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the audience wish to address this item? Okay, Commissioners?
Motion to approve with the addition of the change of number 4.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve conditional use permit 25-43. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any old business?
No.
New business?
No.
Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone.